welcome to Movement with Laurelle, hosted by Wild Wandering Creations. I'm Laurelle and I'm going to be leading you through this practice today. Today we're practicing yoga for tight muscles. So anytime that you've done that really intense workout, or maybe you've gone on a long walk and the legs are feeling super tight, we are going to work through those. So this is a nice, easy practice. It's short. Get into some comfortable clothes and we'll get started. I also recommend that you have 2 blocks, or at least something that can give you a little bit of extra height, and maybe something that you can sit on just to give you that little extra support. We want a lot of support as we work through those tight muscles today. So find your way into a seat and we'll get started. So start to situate yourself, starting to root down through those sits bones, soften through the shoulders, maybe close down the eyes, soften the gaze, and fix your awareness inward. And I want you to notice, give yourself a quick little body scan here, and notice where there's areas of the body that are tight, that might be a little bit sticky. Maybe you're just feeling like you haven't stretched the body in a long time and you're looking to bring some length, to bring some openness to the body. And then I want you to start to soften through the shoulders. Maybe soften through the muscles of the face, seeing if you can release any tension in the jaw. And then start to gently roll out the neck, nice and easy. Nice soft movements here, just kind of warming it up and noticing if there's any tightness here, maybe lingering on any areas in the neck that need your attention. And then just starting to soften into the practice. And as we continue to roll out the neck, doing that a couple of times in both directions, let's just take a moment to recognize that yoga is an ancient Eastern practice, most notably from India. And thanking our South Asian ancestors who cultivated this practice for us to be able to partake in. Slowly, let's take the head on top of the shoulders, and if you want to set an intention or an affirmation for your practice, you can do so now. And it can be as simple as I am here, I am present. It doesn't have to be big. And let's take a nice deep breath in. Long breath out. And then we'll start to walk those hands forward in front of us. You don't have to go far, just starting to find a little stretch. And just release through those shoulders, maybe release through any of that tightness. Let that head get heavy. And then starting to walk the hands back in towards the body. Let's just switch the cross leg. So take the opposite leg in front. Might feel a little bit awkward, a little bit weird at first. We often choose to sit in a shape that feels the most comfortable, most familiar. So start to reach those arms forward. Might feel a little different in the hips and the legs. And then slowly come back in through center. Hands find the thighs, and we'll start to find some nice big circles here. So starting to just roll out through the body one way. And again, because we have that opposite leg in front, the one that we're not too familiar with, it might feel a little weird. And just starting to get familiar with that sensation, shift it around both directions. And we'll breathe here for 3, for 2, and 1. Come back through center. If you're sitting on any props, just shift them off to the side. Make sure that you have 2 blocks handy, or something that is just going to give you that little elevation when we need it. So we're going to start to take the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're just going to start to find the cat-cow movement. So starting to drop through the belly, lift the heart. Round through the spine, press that floor away, finding that little shift. And just starting to ease our way into our practice. And cat-cow, I always find, is a really good indicator of where we're tight, where we might need to focus. And then one more here. And then start to find that nice neutral spine. And we're just going to find some wrist stretches here. So slowly you're going to begin to take the back of the left hand and press it into the earth. And we're just going to start to find some nice big circles here. So use that right hand for support and start to just shift it around. Nice and gentle. Not putting too much pressure that it hurts, but just starting to feel a nice openness in that left wrist. And then come back through center. Let's hold. And then we'll slowly release that hand, gently place that palm down. And we'll just take a moment here to just notice how that left side feels, not rushing into the next side. And then we'll slowly move into the right side. So press the back of the right hand into the earth, and let's start to find that little shift, that little gentle movement. Nice and easy. And slowly, let's come back through center. Hold here for a breath. And then gently release that hand. And just take a moment to notice how those hands are feeling now, the wrists are feeling. Now that we've opened them up a little bit, we're going to start to move into downward facing dog. Tuck through the toes, lift through those hips, press evenly through the hands, and ease your way into it. Now the legs might still feel a little bit tight, so starting to just bend into the knees, then one knee and then the other, and not worrying too much if the heels aren't reaching the earth. Often that's a good indicator if our muscles are really tight. So take your time here, and then slowly start to ease your way in stillness so that those heels start to press into the earth. Maybe you're starting to straighten through the legs a little bit more. Soft bend in the knees is totally okay. And then start to slowly ease the feet towards the hands, towards the top of the mat. Fold forward here, let that head get heavy, let the arms get heavy, really let the weight go. And then let's take the hands to the shins, find a nice halfway lift. And then slowly release the hands. Step that left foot back and gently release that left knee. Untuck those toes. Now this is where those blocks come in really handy, so you can start to take them beside you. And again, if you don't feel like you need the blocks, they are not necessary, but they just kind of bring that floor just a little bit closer. And it's really helpful, especially when we're feeling a tightness in the legs. So start to slowly rise up, press into the blocks maybe, or maybe you take the hands on the knee. And then we'll sweep the arms up. And then gently take those hands behind us, interlace the hands, pull the hands back, open up the chest for one full breath. And then slowly release the hands, take them down to the floor or those blocks. And then you're going to shift the hips back, starting to slowly straighten through the front leg. And if it doesn't come quite straight, that's totally okay. And then we're going to move forward, bend into the front knee. And we're just going to move between those two shapes. So starting to just ease our way into it. Starting to find length in the back of the leg. And starting to open up through those hips. Taking our time here. And then the next time that you straighten through that leg, come into that half split, let's hold there for a moment. Starting to straighten it just a little bit more, and you're going to find a tendency that your hip's going to want to slide to the left, so start to pull it back to the right. Square off those hips, start to lengthen through the spine, and start to fold forward. Tuck that chin in towards the chest, and breathe here for 3, for 2, and 1. Let's slide forward. Move those blocks off to the side. You'll need them for the second side. Hands frame that front foot. Start to tuck through the back toes. Lift up through the back knee. And you're going to take your hands to the inside of the right foot and slowly start to walk through center for a wide-legged forward fold. So adjust the feet as you need to. Heels point out, toes point in, and hinge from those hips. Nice long spine. Fold it forward. Let the head release. Breathe into the backs of the legs. And then if you want, start to tend through the fingertips. Let's find a halfway lift. And then slowly release. Hands start to walk over towards the back of the mat. You're going to pivot the feet so the toes face the back. And then you're going to release through that back knee. Untuck those toes. Now we're all facing the back of the mat. If you want, you can start to bring those props so that they're available to you towards the back of the mat. And then start to come up, either hands on those blocks or hands on the knee. And then let's lift the arms. Slowly pull them all the way back. Let's interlace those hands. Pull the arms away from the low back. Shoulder blades draw together. Open up through the chest. Breathe here for 3, for 2, and 1. Release. Take those hands back up. And then hands find the earth or those blocks. And we're just going to move between that half split again. So starting to shift the hips back, starting to straighten through the front leg as much as possible. Maybe the toes lift. And then slide it forward. Take your time moving with breath. And then maybe you can notice which side feels a little tighter. Usually there's one side that feels just that little bit stickier. Maybe this side feels a little bit more open than the other side, and we're just starting to notice, starting to pay attention to the body. And then the next time that you straighten through that front leg, let's start to pull it back and hold. And again, we'll have that tendency to want to pull our hips to the right. So seeing if you can slide that left hip back so that's squaring the right. And the hips are level and square. Nice flat spine. As you hinge from the hips, fold forward. Seeing if you can soften through the jaw, soften through the muscles of the face. And then start to pull it forward. Bend into the front knee. Props move off to the side. Hands frame that front foot. Tuck through the back toes. Lift up through the back knee. Hands find the inside of the left leg, and we're going to start to walk back through center into that wide-legged forward fold. Heels out, toes in. Hinge from the hips, and let the head get nice and heavy here. You can find a little sway from side to side. Just moving the weight from one leg and then the other. Come back through center. Really let the weight go, and then start to walk your hands over towards that left foot. Maybe you grab a hold of that heel, that ankle. Maybe you just grab a hold of that shin. Breathing here, keeping that nice forward fold. And then slowly come back through center, walk over towards that right side. Grab a hold of that right ankle, shin, heel. And again, notice what's the difference between the sides. Which side is more open? Which side is more tight? What side needs more of your attention, more of your energy? We've got one more deep breath. And then slowly take the hands all the way over towards the top. Start to pivot through the toes. Frame that front foot. And then you're going to step that right foot back. High plank. Shift it back. Downward facing dog. Let's take a nice deep breath in. And out. Let it go. Let's take the knees down towards the earth. Big toes touch, knees nice and wide. Shift it back, child's pose. Let the arms get heavy, let the head get heavy, and really release into the earth here. Give yourself this moment to check in, notice. Maybe the hips still feel a little tight, so you just shift the weight side to side, roll it through the forehead. This is always a good opportunity to notice what the body's feeling, notice what areas need your attention, and reminding yourself that this is your practice. So you get to decide what you need. You get to decide where to focus, where you need stillness, where you need movement. One more full breath here. And then start to press into the hands. Come back up through center. And we're just going to shift our feet off to one side, and we're going to start to pull the legs forward in front of us. Start to straighten out through those legs. Give them a little shake if you want, a little release. And then you're going to start to find a bend in that right knee. You're going to start to point those toes up towards the sky. And then you're going to pull that right leg over top of the left. Now you can stay here. This is a really great place to stay. Or you can start to bend into that left knee and start to hug that heel in towards your seat. And we're just going to sit up nice and tall here to start. Interlace the hands. This already can feel quite intense in the legs, especially if our muscles are already tight. And then if you want to add a little bit more, you can start to wrap that left arm around the right knee. Take that right hand behind and start to find a nice twist, a nice opening. Taking the gaze over that right shoulder, softening into it for 3, for 2, and 1. Come back through center. Let's find a little counter twist to the other side. Come back, open the chest, and you're just going to straighten through that left leg and hold there. Going to grab a hold of the outside of the right knee, outside of the right foot, and we're just going to cradle our leg and just give it a little gentle rock from side to side. Nice and easy. And then you're going to slowly pull that leg all the way over so that the outer edge of that right foot lands on the floor. Flex through those left toes and just crawl those fingertips forward, but trying to keep a nice straight spine. So as soon as you feel yourself rounding and crunching in, that's when you know that you've gone as far as you can, and start to open up, use the fingertips for support, and breathe. Slowly pull it back through center. Unravel the legs. Give them a little shake, a little release. Beautiful. And then we'll start to bend into that left knee. Pull it over top of the right. And again, this is a great place to stay, or you can start to pull that heel in towards your seat, sitting up nice and tall, interlacing the hands, and just noticing how right away how this side feels, what's present. And then taking it one step further, wrapping our right hand around that left knee, letting the left hand come behind, and finding a twist open. Soften through the gaze, soften through the shoulder. And notice if your mind has started to wander now that we're starting to kind of slow it down a little bit more. Sometimes I find that when we hold stillness, that's when our mind starts to drift. So seeing if you can pull it back and maybe bring your awareness to the breath. And then slowly come back through center. Let's find a little counter twist to the other side. Come back through center. Let's extend that right leg. Grab a hold of the outside of the left foot and the left knee, and then start to cradle that leg. Just give it a little rock from side to side. And then start to pull it all the way across, letting the outer edge of that left foot land, flexing through those right toes, and we'll start to hinge from the hips, start to walk the hands forward. Spine is nice and straight, chest is open, and maybe you just tuck that chin in towards your chest, just to release any pressure off the neck. Find some nice deep breaths. And then slowly start to come back up. Unravel those legs. Give them one last little shake. And then we're just going to pull the knees in towards their chest. Hook our arms underneath the thighs here. And we're just going to find a little rock and roll finding a nice little gentle release in the spine, maybe in the low back, and then finally settling on our back with the knees hugging in towards our chest. Give yourself that nice squeeze, that nice release. And then you're going to slowly release that left foot back towards the earth, and you're just going to start to hug that right knee in. And you're going to start to reach for the outer edge. And you're going to start to reach for the outer edge of that right foot. Start to find a nice half happy baby. So we're really finding a nice deep bend here. You're more than welcome to hug the knee instead of the foot. Find what works for you. And knowing that each day and each side can be different. So when our muscles are really tight, sometimes just holding the knee is just enough. And then we're going to start to reach for the left side. So starting to reach either for the outer edge of the left foot or the knee. And we're going to come into full happy baby. Trying to find some stillness here and holding. Find your nice deep breath. And then gently releasing that right side, keeping a hold of the left foot, half happy baby on the other side. Give yourself a chance to focus solely on the left. Notice what you feel, notice what's present. And then slowly release that foot. Start to extend the legs out nice and long. Keep the legs together. Thighs are touching, and then reach the arms overhead. Find a nice deep stretch. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then exhale, release. Let the legs and the arms come out nice and wide. Coming into Shavasana, just a moment to allow the body to settle. So because we were using blocks today, you're more than welcome to slide the blocks underneath the knees. Give that back that little extra support. And then you can take one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Take a nice deep breath in. Deep breath out. And you are more than welcome to stay in this shape for as long as it feels good. You're more than welcome to end your practice here. Press pause and just allow yourself to be in stillness. And when you're ready, making sure that you give yourself a moment to thank yourself for showing up, for moving and breathing and taking care of your body. Sometimes moving slowly is the most challenging. So the fact that you took this time to stretch and release is beautiful. So thank yourself for showing up. Maybe repeat any intention or affirmation that you set. And with gratitude for our practice and with gratitude for our community, thank you so much for holding space with me today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. I hope that the body is feeling a little bit more open, a little bit more stretched, and maybe those tight muscles have had a chance to release just a little bit. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe so that you can get free yoga, meditation, and astrology videos every single week. And I want to know how this left you feeling. So please comment in the section below. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you want to see more of. And I'll see you next week.